In these problems, we are doing something called rationalizing the denominator. And in most algebra classes, they are going to want you to learn how to rationalize the denominator in a lot of different ways, in a lot of different styles of denominators. If your question is, why do we rationalize the denominator? Well, it's a convention. So mathematicians have been doing it this way for a long time. They don't like these radical symbols on the bottoms of fractions for some reasons that were important in the past and maybe aren't so important now. So this is something that we just learn to do as we study math. Well, let me show you how this works. What we're trying to do is get the radical symbol off of the bottom of the fraction. We don't want that down there. How can we do this? Well, you may be familiar from your work with fractions before that you're allowed to multiply a fraction by 1. You can multiply anything by 1 and it stays the same. And there are lots of forms of 1. 2 over 2 is the same as the number 1. 100 over 100 is the number 1. But also, you could multiply this by the square root of 5 over the square root of 5, right? Anything over itself is 1, so this is just 1. So I'm multiplying this fraction by 1, so its real true value won't change. But look what happens when you do this. When you multiply fractions, of course, you multiply across the top and across the bottom. So on top, we're going to get 4 times the square root of 5. On the bottom, we get square root of 5 times the square root of 5. That's the square root of 5 squared, or just 5. And voila, the radical sign disappears from the bottom of the fraction. That is called rationalizing the denominator. The method here with a simple problem like this is simply to take that radical sign, put it over itself, and use that form of 1 to multiply. Let's do this one more time for practice. So we want to multiply this fraction by a form of the number 1. We're going to take this square root of 7, the thing that's in the denominator here, and put it over itself to get our form of 1. And then we just do the multiplication. 8 times the square root of 7. We write that as 8 times the square root of 7. And the square root of 7 times the square root of 7 is square root of 7 squared, or just 7. And that's all there is to rationalizing the denominator with problems like this.